I don't want to hear anything going on. No excuses. I'm going to go the other way now in New York. It is an absolute disgrace that the Wilpons are cutting payroll by $20 million and are going to go from 155, which is what it was last year, which was about 13th or 14th in the sport, maybe 12th. And they're going to go down to about 130 million this year. In case you missed, they did re-sign Sandy Alderson as their general manager. They gave him a 2-year contract extension. Alderson, with what he's had to work with, listen, he's had some misfires, but he did get Syndergaard for, R.A. Dickey. He has done a pretty good job with the team. And the ownership refuses to spend the big money and really go all in to try to win a championship. And the Met fan, which is an inferior fan to begin with, he's upset. I shouldn't say inferior fan. He feels inferior to begin with the Yankees 6 miles away, with the great team that they have put together and the money that they have to work with, and then of course the trade and taking in 265 of Stanton's contract, and of course where you are with the Nationals and everything else. The Met fan always feels slighted that his ownership does nothing and never really quite goes all in. They tiptoe around the surface. If Cespedes falls in your lap, they give him $100 million for 4 years. I mean, they tiptoe around the surface. They bargain basement shop, and that bothers like crazy. That bothers the Met fan, and the Met fan has every right to feel that way. The Met fan has supported this franchise since 1962, when the Mets are good, and it's happened much too infrequently, but when the Mets are good, mid-'80s, 2006, a couple years ago, they flock to the ballpark. This is a National League town. It always has been. It's a National League city. Dodgers and Giants, going back to the turn of the century. It's much more an NL town than it is an American League town. And this city is just dying to have a halfway decent baseball team on a year-in, year-out basis in the NL East. And the Mets just are erratic. They're inconsistent. They hope on a short string that everything breaks right, so maybe they have a chance to be a good team. It worked out that way 2 years ago when the pitching came together. It did not work out that way this past year when the pitching did not come together. But the idea that the Mets run their team like the Pirates and the Reds and the Royals in this city with the prices that they charge. You ever go to a game at Citi Field? And they're not cheap. You're not getting Kansas City prices. Oh, no. You think you're going to if you're going to Citi Field to go to a Met game, if you think you're getting discount prices because the payroll is $120 million, think again. You're paying prices that the Yankee fan pays. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And the Wilpons, who I do think care and do want to see a winning team, the problem that the Wilpons have with their franchise is they want you to understand their economic plight. Hey, we got burned by the Madoff. We lost $300 million by Bernie Madoff. They're not the only ones, but we got killed with that. They did not know. There's no way they knew going in what Madoff was up to with that Ponzi scheme. But they got killed with it, and they lost a ton of money. And they think that because they are still feeling the effects of the Madoff scandal financially, that gives them the right to keep the payroll at a manageable level so they have a chance to own a team. But see, here's where they're wrong. Okay, nobody in New York anymore cares about how much money Fred or Jeff Wilpon or Saul Katz lost with the Madoff scandal. They don't care, right? I mean, nobody is that interested anymore. If you can't own the team by New York City standards, then sell the team. That is your civic responsibility as the ownership group. You know what? We can't compete like we should be able to compete. We need to sell the ball club. But the Wilpons don't want to do that because, God forbid, Fred Wilpon, the old-time Dodger fan with Sandy Koufax walking Ebbets Field with his father, God forbid, let's make sure the rotunda at Citi Field looks like Ebbets Field. God forbid that we sell my franchise. I want my franchise for my grandchildren. Well, yeah, I'm not selling this team. But the issue there is, well, then you're going to get pounded because it's not the guy who's schlepping into Citi Field from Smithtown and spending a fortune to do it to buy 4 tickets for a lousy game against the Pirates on a Sunday night in June. It's not his fault that you got burned by Madoff. So if you can't give him a representable product, which you can't do half the time because of finances, then you owe it as a civic responsibility to the other team. That's what it comes down to. And that's what Met fans think. And the Met fan isn't wrong. The Met fan has earned his right to moan and groan again about ownership. The Rays and Marlins fan have not. 20 after the hour, we continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.
Happy holidays, dummy.
That's right, lady. You heard it. What do you think you're going to see here, huh?